Okay, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to play with a metronome, and everything that I talk about in this video, even though I'm only using my hands, the same concepts apply to drum set or any other percussion instrument, or really any other instrument that you play. So I've noticed with some students a difficulty with being able to play with a metronome. And I wouldn't say it's because of a lack of timing or a lack of rhythm even, but you have to really open your ears up and be aware of what's going on besides yourself to play with a metronome well. You have to be aware of your surroundings. And this is actually not just good for learning to keep time better, but it's also a good thing for listening to other musicians. If you're in a band or an orchestra or whatever it is you're doing, you can't just listen to yourself. You need to listen to everything that's going on around you and be a part of what's happening. So how do you get from not playing with a metronome or with time, anything keeping time, somebody clicking their sticks together, another instrument playing whatever they're playing, or even another drummer playing whatever he's playing, and you got to play along with that person? How do you get from not being able to do that to being able to do that? I've found that there are some strategies that we can use to get us getting from point A to point B in this discussion. So let's say we're playing at this tempo. This is 80 beats per minute. Now certainly you could just play along with that. I think that's a good place to start. And you just want to line up each of your notes with the notes of the metronome. But you don't want to just play at 80 beats per minute. You should try playing at lots of different tempos. Here's 104. So you just want to line everything up. Okay? So we're not really practicing this right now, we're just going over it. Here's 132. And let me tell you how I do this, is whenever I'm beginning to play with the tempo, I internalize the time first and then I start playing it. So when I'm hearing this, in my head, I'm thinking, da, 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 da. Then I start playing. The reason why I do that is when I play, that's an outward expression of what I'm trying to do musically to other people, to the listener, or to the video, or to the recording that I'm making, whatever it is. So before I want to play my outward expression, I internalize the time first so that I know that when I start playing that I'm correct. So in my head, I'm thinking, da, 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 da. I don't really tap my foot. I don't really find that to be particularly helpful. To some people it might be, but I try to internalize the time as much as I can. Okay, so now that we're playing with the tempo, with the marking of the metronome, the beat of whatever it is that we're doing, at different tempos, I like to do an exercise involving eighth notes that calls for you to start and stop on one of these clicks. For instance, and when you play notes in between the beat, we call that subdivision. We're dividing the beat into something smaller and playing more notes. And what I like about this exercise right here for students is it forces you to start on a click and to stop on a click. There's the stop. So you know where it starts and you know where it stops. So here's the start. Here's the stop. But we can do this with many other rhythms. So this is just eighth notes. How about 16th notes? We're starting on a beat and stopping on a beat. So I'm developing a good sense of time, of knowing how this rhythm fits in to a tempo marking. Now, you don't want to just sit here at 80 beats per minute and do that all day long. You want to try different tempos on purpose. okay? And don't just go faster, like even go slower sometimes. Here's 58 beats per minute. So right now I'm internalizing the time, getting a feel for what's going on. You can start off by doing this if you want. And then remember the eighth notes. Now let's try 16th notes. And see, I'm not even perfect. I wasn't very accurate starting these 16th notes out. So obviously, I'm not perfect. I could use practice on this even still, and I've been playing for 20-something years. But this is a god-awful slow tempo. Now you can use the same technique for other types of rhythms. So let's say you're working on triplets. So I'm starting the triplet on a beat, and I'm stopping the triplet on a beat. Even quintuplets. Quintuplets is when you play a group of 5 in that time span. Now let's see how well I can do this. We're going to try septuplets. That's doing 7. Now you'll see I didn't do it very well the first couple times because I had to adjust, but I got it, and I did it. And the more you do this, the quicker these things will come to you. It's just like anything. The more you do it, the quicker it'll come to you. So now let's try the septuplets again. All right, that's 5. Let's do 7s. Okay, so see there, I wasn't perfect when I started out, but I got there quicker. Now let's see if I can nail the septuplets this time. And then it's a good idea to go from like 7s, if you're up to that kind of stuff, to doing sextuplets, which is the 6s. And I do those a lot, so that's not a big deal for me. All right, so how about 8 notes in that beat, which would be 32nd notes? So I did that pretty good because I do that a lot. All right, how about 9? I don't know what you would call that, what number that would be, but we're going to do 9 notes in that beat. Anyway, so here's how to play with a metronome and to get started doing it. Key things I would lock into: knowing where the beat is, internalizing the time before you start playing. Focus on that. And yes, this is more work than just playing your drum, because you have to think outwardly, listen outwardly while you're doing what you're doing, inwardly hear what you're thinking about. So get that time down and do it at different tempos. That's very important. Do it at different tempos, because if you get locked into just playing one tempo all the time, guess what? You're only going to be good at playing that one tempo all the time. So mix it up. Go faster, go slower, try different things. Subdivided notes, where you start on a beat and stop on a beat. Like that. That's super important. And don't just use 8th notes. Try 16th notes, or triplets, or septuplets, 9s, whatever, 8s. Try all these different things, and that's how you get good at it. I will do a training video on this eventually. I'm just not going to do it today. Thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful.